Can okay.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me, Francisco?
Yes.
Yes, I'm Filippo.
Hello, Filippo.
Hello. Good morning.
Morning. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar. Thank you for being here this morning. My name is Francisco Bujan. I'm from CARSA, coordinator of the IPA4SME program initiative supported by European Commission. We're here today also with my colleagues from COPACOM, Filippo and Joan, who would be in charge of making sure that the webinar runs smoothly and that the platform works fine. And for this reason, Filippo will explain to you, all of you attendees, how the mechanics, some kind of logistics on how to operate with the platform in order to make your participation as fruitful as possible. Please, if you can give some guidance on how to proceed.
Yes. Hello, everyone, and thanks to attend this webinar on IPA4SME. I'm Filippo De Fabrizio, and I am part of GOPACOM, communication agency based in Brussels. And yes, I'm going to spend a few words on the rules and the ways you have to interact with us during the webinar. And first of all, the webinar is recorded, and to facilitate you to listen it again after the end of this webinar. And so a few ways which you can interact with us. The first, you can ask questions at any point in your question section. The second way is you can interact with us using the chat function. And the third and the last way is to raise your hand at some point to speak. And please notice that we will have the general question and answer section at the end of this webinar. And this means that we will collect your questions and we will answer at the very end one by one. And I think this is pretty much it from my side. And
Okay.
Looking forward to your questions. And Francisco, you can start.
Thank you very much, Filippo. Yeah. So yeah, if you can type your questions. We will be collecting it as I speak, and then we will address all of them at the end of the webinar. If you don't mind, I think that might be the best way, so we can have a long Q&A section at the end of the webinar. So well, let's go for it. First of all, congratulations to all of you, and thank you for your interest in this initiative. What I'm going to do is basically go through to the guide for beneficiaries document that we have prepared. This time also for you, as you know, this is our second cutoff, cutoff bunch of selection projects that we have done. So we have also learned a little bit from our first one, and we have improved. We try to improve the guide for beneficiaries document, which is not actually a very long document. It's only 21 pages. We try to make everything very clear and short and straightforward, so we can all work smoothly and you can benefit the most from the support that we're willing to give to you in services. For those of you who have been selected or granted with Service 1 IP prior diagnostic, and also for those of you who have been awarded with Service 2 and 3, which is partial reimbursement of cost for your patent registration processes. Okay, so let's go for it. This is the document. Of course you have access to it through the EMS platform, but I don't know if some of you have already had the chance to go through it. But in any case, I'm going to go through it a little bit and maybe stop in those most important parts of it, or text, and also some of the graphics that we have prepared and included in the document, so everything is understandable. Of course, again, I want to insist that we have tried to make it straightforward and easy to understand, because, yeah, I mean, it all requires everything has to be, very, very clear and supported with the required documentation, and in order to be able for us to reimburse and to when it comes to money and support, everything has to be very clear. And sometimes, because we are mixing here and we are managing 2 or 3 services at the same time, some things might get complicated, and we have tried to ease all of that, so you can concentrate on having the right documents and having the right or the proper information at the right time, so everything runs smooth. So, well, this is the table of context. If we go first to the this 2.1 section, because the first one is an introduction and the general conditions. The use of EMS, as you already know, because you have already submitted your applications through this platform. This is the platform that we are also going to use for the service implementation. So for us to have access to the documents and the information that we need in order to provide the service to you, and also for you in order to provide us with the information and the documents that we need in order to close and to run the services. So everything will be managed or through the EMS platform. Basically, if you log in with the same password and username, a username that you have already, you can go to, now that you've been selected, you will have a My Project section, and under that section you will have well, in the My Area menu, you will have My Projects, and clicking there you will have all the information, and you will access the EMS, the part of the EMS platform that is now important for you. But we'll go through that a little bit later. So as it says here, the beneficiary has been awarded with an IP4SME support service. A private space for you, it will be enabled the EMS platform. You go to My Area, and then you go to My Project. Commonly, you will have if you click on My Project, you will have just one line. Most of you, maybe some of you or some other people might have several, because you might be along as we accumulate cutoff dates in this project. You may have several awards, several projects or grants given to you in several cutoff dates, but most of you will have just one. And there you go to support documentation. If you click there under the action column, you will get to the screen that you need to work on. This by clicking on go to support documentation, you will have 2 sections. You have one section, like you will see now a picture right away. On the left side menu, you will have 2 parts: support documentation, which is clicking there. It's a place specifically designed for you to upload only the required documents that support the subsequent reimbursement justification. So there, this support documentation is only for uploading or providing us with the support documents that we need to have in order to reimburse back the money that you spent either on European patent fees or with your attorney fees or attorney's services. Okay, so so nothing else that needs to be included there. We have prepared the platform so you have indication and instruction on how to and what type of files and so on you have to work with in that part. So everything is clear there. And the second part is it's called reimbursement. We have called it reimbursement. So and that place that's clicking there, you will go to a place where you designated for you to provide the necessary financial information to receive the grant. Here we're basically talking about service 2 and 3 because, as you know, there is no grant. I mean, there is no reimbursement for you, no financial relations with service 1 IP prior diagnostic because we pay directly to the IP expert that will be doing the prior diagnostic to you. But in any case, this is what I wanted to say is that this part is only for you to provide financial information. What kind of financial information? Well, first one and very important one is what we call the financial ID document, which is basically the bank information we need to have from you in order for us to be able to enable to make the transfer. Okay, and then the second document here it would be the acknowledge of receipt. Once we have here, when the coordination center has made the corresponding transfer to you, you are requested to download this as a template, and you just say that you have received. When you check in your bank account and you see that the transfer has been made, we're asking you to provide us with the knowledge of receipt of that transfer. This is important for us to report to the European Commission. Okay, so two parts: support documentation, everything that we will check in order to make sure that everything is okay, and the reimbursement part, which is the financial information. Here we include some screenshots so you can, well, have a picture of how it looks like before you go into the image platform, but you can do it yeah, very easily. I mean, the idea is, as you can see here, you click on my area here, and then you will see my projects. You click on my projects. This is an example of somebody who was granted with service 2 and 3. You will see the cutoff date in which these services were granted, and under the action column here, you go to support documentation. You click here, and you will access a screen like this, more or less. Yeah, you see here support documentation, and you see here reimbursement. If you click here, we have separate. Well, this screenshot here has service 1, 2, and 3 for as a good example. So all the documents that are required for each of the services need to be uploaded in each of the sections here. Okay, and then the reimbursement section is. It is divided also. If you have service 2 and 3, for instance, you have a section here up in the upper part of the page for service 2, and here for service 3. And you can upload you can download the financial certification template, the one you need to fill in order to give us your bank details here, and also the acknowledge of receipt. So here you can download the template, fill in, and upload it with the information, and the same for service 3. Okay. So so AMS platform is it's one of the key is the key element for us, and for us all, you and us, to interact in order to follow up with the services. And a second important thing to start with is a number of impact and satisfaction surveys that we are asked as this is a service provided by the European Commission to get from you information on different issues. Basically, satisfaction on the services that we provide, and also on your IP strategies and how these are affecting are influencing your company. So as it's written here, you will be asked to participate in a series of surveys along the way. I mean, this is not everything condensed in just a few days. A series of surveys as part of the work. These surveys are designed to effectively monitor the impact of the project in you, as well as to continue to improve the service provided by us. The first one, a very important one, you will see this along my talk this morning, is the IP4SME self-assessment, what we call IPSA. It's a nice name to remember, IPSA, which is would be required for you, all of you, meaning that the services will not be activated or will not start until you complete this survey. It's not a very long one, and you will only be asked once to do this very specific one. Here we provide a table in which we summarize a very clearly describes the surveys and when are these going to take place. So prior to service activation, either service 1, 2, and 3, this is IPSA self-assessment. Then for service 1, it would be a satisfaction survey 2 or 3 months after service service 1 has been completed. So you have gone through the IP pre-diagnostic with the IP expert, and 2 or 3 months after you've completed that, you will be required to tell us what your impression on that service has been. Then the IP in the impact survey 2 months after, this would be for all the services, 2 months after service activation, and then a final one, a long term, after 3 years after service activation. Okay, so here we present a summary or a description of each of them. The first one is IPSA, which is again at this moment, of course, is the most important one, because it's the green light or not for everyone to start. We need to have this one in order to start and to activate, to be able to activate the services. And this is the intention here is just to help us gain a general understanding of the knowledge level of you regarding IP management and protection strategies. These results, it is important to say that will remain completely anonymous, with the exception of Service 1 beneficiaries whose IPSAs will be shared with the designated experts. Okay, so they will have that information in advance, so they can, analyze that questions and answers that you made, and be able to configure a better service for you, for those of you who have Service 1 pre-diagnostic. Okay, so but this is the only case. For the rest, this will be anonymous and will not be shared with anyone outside the commission or the IP4SME team. Service 1 satisfaction survey. This form is of course, as I said, for those of you who have a pre-diagnostic, and then the impact survey is I would say the midterm and the long term. The idea is to, of course, see how either of the services have impacted on your business. Well, 1 year after and 3 years after, and see if there's been a positive effect of this program, and of course, in order to be able to make policies or improve these kind of programs or support programs to SMEs in Europe. Okay. Well, there's then the financial ID form, the one I was referring to for the financial information. This is a standard form that is used in European programs, where the bank details are given to a fund or to a grant giver, like us in this case. So this is a standard ID form that we use very commonly, and and we most of the cases we only need that once. But if there are some changes along the way, because this may pass months, you can prepare a new one and send it to us to that email address in case something changes. Okay. So let's go directly to the various services, to what the way we have designed that, and how to proceed in order to justify and in order to receive a good service. So here we present a picture of the workflow we have foreseen to have here. Just hang on a second. I'm trying to. Okay. In the rest, this is for service one, and for the rest of the services, you will see that everything starts with the same. This is this IPSA, this IP4SME self-assessment, that is a requirement for everyone to before starting. Then the IP pre-diagnostic expert is designated. We will see now in a minute how this is foreseen to be done. Basically, it depends on the country you are located. Then, of course, initial contact with that IP expert will be scheduled. You will do with them the pre-diagnostic, and then they will see they will have the post the satisfaction survey I was referring to 2 or 3 months after the completion of the service. So this is more or less a summary of the process. So IPSA first, then an expert will be designated, or you will see now, or you will choose one depending on the country. You will schedule a meeting. You will perform the IP diagnostic, and then you get a report for you, of course, and then you will be asked to ask some questions about your satisfaction on that. So self-assessment, again, the same. The diagnostic cannot begin until the beneficiary survey results have been provided. So you cannot start until you have that, and following the support award. So everybody can start doing this IPSAS right away because this was included in the communication to you on the 10th of October. And we will share that result, as I said, with the expert. Then designation of the IP pre-diagnostic expert. Once the IPSA has been fulfilled, we will facilitate the contact. Coordination. We facilitate the contact with the expert. This process will differ slightly different depending on the country of registration of your country of location. Okay. In some cases, for those of you who are in Austria, Denmark, France, Germany, Netherlands, and Spain, the expert will be assigned directly by the national IP office. Okay, this is the way this part of the program has been designed together the European Commission with the countries. And this is the way. And for those of you who are in Greece, Italy, Ireland, Latvia, and Sweden, you will have the chance to choose from a number, not long. We will try to make a short number of IP experts. Okay, so you will have a short bio profile of the person in case you are in Greece, Italy, Ireland, Latvia, and Sweden, and you will have the chance to choose which one you would like to work with. In the case of the other countries, it would be, as I said, the national IP office who would, depending on different variables, would assign an expert to each of you. So we will provide the list of beneficiaries, those of you who are in those countries being granted with support, and they will decide which. This is the way it works. So well. Of course, the next step would be that you that you will contact and schedule a meeting with the assigned expert, or with the one you choose. Once you choose, we will provide you with the data contact of that expert, and you will have agree on a date, and you will start with the pre-diagnostic. Okay, at that moment we will also share the IPSA results with him or her, in order to be able for him or her to analyze that in advance. So some of you have already asked about what is all about the pre-diagnostic, what is the process. So here we present as a summary of the main steps that this service is composed of. So there will be an initial analysis. So the expert would analyze the competitive environment of the company, and the survey responses you gave into the IPSA, to gain an initial understanding of your IP situation. Then comes the visit and interview. The expert will visit you in situ and conduct an in-depth interview with you, that should last more or less about between 2 to 4 hours. I mean, depending on every specific case, it can last more or less, different. But that's more or less the idea. 2 to 4 hours of work there with you, seeing what you have, discussing, and the expert asking questions, and maybe having a visit of the company and checking and touching and hearing what you have there. So a good report for you can be provided later on. And then the final results. The expert will deliver the results, complete analysis of the report, and explain the suggestions that will be given to you in order to exploit best your IP assets. Okay. For us, it's also important that you confirm, because we will manage these initial contacts and so on, but we cannot follow up every single detail of those of you. You are many, so we need to have from you a confirmation that this work has been done, and that has been done properly, and so we will ask you for a confirmation of the service. Okay. Time frame. Well, this is also important. We have our first cutoff was in June, and projects or the services started in July, or intended were tried to start in July. In that case, because of the summer holidays period and so on, it was kind of difficult. But I think in this case will be easier. We have established that. I mean, we cannot have this forever, and we thought that 4 months to complete this first service one, whole process of service one, is a reasonable time frame. So that's what we are asking, and everyone involved in the implementation of this service is aware of this, and this is the time frame we established, 4 months to complete the whole thing. Okay, so you will be receiving, I think, already this week, some of you already some the communication from us about the experts to be chosen, so you can start the process as soon as possible. Okay, so this goes for service one. Service two is what we call partial reimbursement of European Patent Office fees. Okay. Here we present again a picture of how we see the whole timeline or the process, which again begins with the IPSA. With the IPSA self-assessment. Okay, here it says mandatory to start the process and to be able to activate, because here there is another concept here for service 2 and service 3 we have the concept of activating the service. Okay, what does that mean? We'll see in a minute. Okay, so first the IPSA, then of course you start, or maybe you have already started to work and to start registering a patent you would like to register in the EPO. Okay, you can do that. Normally, we have seen that normally there are two ways. Either you do it you do it yourself. Each company, well, goes to the online EPO service in order to register a patent and work from there, or you get the help of your or the IP attorney who does this on behalf of your company. Okay. In any case, after if it's the case of you work with an attorney to do this, you will, well, the attorney will of course invoice you for this service, and you will have to pay it, and then you can request a partial reimbursement with to us via the AMS platform, and then we ask you to confirm the receipt of our reimbursement. This will be like the summary of the whole process. Okay, starting with the IPSA and ended up with the confirmation of reimbursement. Here we see in green, we see the service activation. What means for us? There's an option one, which is make a request of reimbursement. That would be first request. We will see now what that means. Okay. So those are the activities and documentation required in order to successfully complete the process. During this implementation, the coordination center, us, will be responsible for basic elements: monitor the whole process and proceed with the payment. So we here basically in service 2 and 3, which this is the same. We just, I mean, everything, most of the things are on your side to be done. Okay, so we monitor, of course. That everything is okay, and is made on time, and we pay. I mean, that is all we have to do. Very simple. So I'm just looking this because here we don't have third parties, we don't have IP experts, we don't have IP offices outside that we need to interact with or whatever. This is only for you to do, and this process here of going to the EPO online service and request and start registering EPO or working with an attorney and so on, it all depends to you, and it depends on you, and providing the required documentation depends on you, and the timing of everything depends on you. So this is important to know in advance. So here, having completed the IPSA, which is a mandatory to start the process, but we have said here this because there's been a confusion in the previous cutoff about what IPSA, what it is, and what the activation. So IPSA is a requirement to start, but this does not mean that you have activated the service, and you have a deadline to activate the service. We will see that right away. So service activation is a different action that comes after, and which proceeding details are described here. Okay. So subsequent reimbursements can only be done by us when a valid service activation is completed. So for us to pay here, you need to activate first, and to activate first, you need to do the IPSA. Okay. So self-assessment, service activation, and reimbursement, they are related, and they are consequently exclusive. Okay, one cannot happen without the other, without the previous one. Okay. A specific time frame. This is also important. I'm referring to it because as I said, you have 4 months to complete service 1. Of course, you depend on third parties outside the company and outside us. But here it depends on you. You have 4 months to activate the service, either in this case service 2. Okay, so 4 months counting from the day we communicate to you that you were granted. So that was 10th of October. So you have until the 10th of February to activate the service. You can have an extension, and we'll see now why and how you can have a service extension of 4 additional months. And once you activate, you have until the end of 2021 to complete the service. I mean, complete the service means to take the most of or the maximum you can get from service 2, which is 2,500 euro from us. So communication, date communication, 10th of October, service activation deadline 4 months after, 10th of February next year. Limit for support service activation. If the support service has not been activated by this date, our support is rescinded, will be cancelled. Okay, so it is important for you, unless an extension has been granted. How we can give you an extension of 4 months? Beneficiaries will be given an additional 4 months to activate their service 2 when they activate the corresponding service 3 for support from the same cutoff date. Of course, this only applies when you have been granted both services 2 and 3. So you made an application and we granted to you both service 2 and 3 at the same time in the same cutoff date. Okay, so if you have service 3 as well and you activate it, we'll see how that is done. You will have 4 months to activate service 2. Okay. The same support. So to activate support, you have 2 options that were here somehow described. You know, it's the service option 1 is the one we prefer, but you also have an option 2. You can check the graphic later, but let's read what it says. 2 options. You can make an initial payment request. Of course, as I said, you have 2,500 euros to opt maximum, which is 75% of the cost you justify. Okay, you can have maybe you can provide the documentation to receive that amount at once in just one request. That would be great. I mean, that would be good or whatever. But normally you have maybe first a smaller amount, so you will have 2 chances to do a request. Okay, so the service can be activated with the first request for reimbursement by uploading in EMS either at least 1 valid IP attorney invoice corresponding proof of payment from your side. When the attorney does the online patent registration process, as I was saying here, and we found out that there is many of the cases when is the IP on your behalf who's working on the platform, on the EPO platform and doing the documentation and so on, what he needs to do, and he does it on your behalf and he invoices you for this service. Okay, so invoices you have the invoice from the IP attorney and you pay it and you put invoice and payment together and you upload it in the EMS platform. That will mean for us an initial payment request or a payment request. And then you will, in doing that, you will be activating the service. We will check that in documentation if it's correct. Conditions are basically, we'll see that later, but the condition is that the invoice has to be dated after the award communication. So everything has to be after 10th of October this year. And the proof of payment is okay, so on, and then we will proceed with the reimbursement. Okay, but you have already activated the service. Again, so you will have until the end of 2021 to complete or to opt for the maximum of reimbursement. Okay, because you're calm now, you activated the service, and you have plenty of time to keep on working. To keep on having whatever you have to do to complete the European patent process. But here you have a second option to activate. So you can activate with the IP attorney service and the proof of payment. But you can also activate by if you didn't have time to, maybe because time is running and you don't have time to pay, or you don't want to pay whatever condition, you can send the invoice to us and you will also be count as an activation of the service. Okay, so you can activate, as I said, by initial payment request with in the case of you have worked with an IP attorney, invoice plus payment approved, or you can upload the EPO patent debit order submission confirmation. This is when you do it when you do it directly. Okay, so you don't have nobody working on your behalf. If you do that into the APO or online platform, you get your patent debit order submission confirmation. We will see now what is that. You can also activate by uploading that in the EMS platform, and you can also activate. Second option, sending an email to us with the invoice of the IP attorney. So again, over here, once activated, beneficiaries will have until the end of the IP4SME project to make their second request for reimbursement, because you will only have, again, advance here, two opportunities to upload, to request reimbursement. Okay, the first one activates that, and then you have only a second one. So make sure you have to make your calculations. Make sure that you, in the case of the second one, in case you have not opted for the maximum in the first one, in the second one you fulfill the maximum. Okay. Okay, you can cancel here. If a beneficiary does not activate the service 2 within 4 months, the support will be cancelled. Beneficiaries who have had a support service cancelled may be reapplied to us in the future cutoff dates without any penalization. I mean, if you didn't have time to do it within 4 months, well, I mean, there's no, you can opt for it in the next. You can apply again for us in the next cutoff dates. Well, here, as I said, in the event that you have been awarded service 2 and 3 in the same cutoff date, the activation of either of the support services will automatically extend the time for months additional. Beneficiaries are asked to inform the coordination center in case they decide to stop pursuing the EPO patent application process without affecting the fees already reimbursed. Okay, you can also get that. Here, there's a picture of that summarizes or tries to guide you a little bit about the timing and when to activate or not. This is the support service award communication, 10th of October. Have you been awarded with both service 2 and 3? No. Okay, only service 2 or 3. Then the deadline for you to activate is 10th of February. If yes, you have been awarded with both services, then have you activated either of the services before the 10th of February? No, then you need to, your deadline is that, stick to that. And if yes, you have activated one of them, you will have a deadline extended for 4 months till June next year. Okay. Here, the step-by-step process, self-assessment, and then the EPO patent registration. There can be here, as I was saying, there can be two situations. The EPO patent registration is made by your IP attorney on behalf of the company. So what is so we need to have the invoice of the attorney in order to be able to reimburse to you. Beneficiaries cannot be reimbursed once they have one or more. Of course, you can, as I said, you can put together several invoices in order to up to the maximum to as much as possible in each of payment requests from IP attorney. To be considered valid, it must be dated after the date of communication, so 10th of October. And we ask you to include the following information. So you will be asked. You can ask the attorney to include the name of the attorney, the patent application process, and the EPO debit order information that he has got from the online. This, as you know, these are the type of EPO fees that we are supporting under IP4SME program. So we need to have the code included in the invoice, so we know that his or her services have been in line with these services, with this code descriptions. Okay, this is the code that we cover. And to facilitate the reimbursement process, we also ask you include in English, and if you have an invoice from your IP attorney in the language, of course, of your relations, or in the language of your country, we can accept that. But as long, please, that as we have at least this little statement in English, so we can, because we are not experts in all the languages in Europe, so we can check easily that all the information that we need to reimburse you. So that the IP attorney is the name of the IP attorney, the code of the services, your name and your PIC number, and the dates. Okay, so these are the important things for us to know. The rest of the invoice can be in your original language form or whatever. So, but we need to have this in order to understand what it's saying, and then for us to make sure that everything is okay. So one way is that, as I was saying, that the patent attorney do it on your behalf, or maybe you have made the registration. You make your registration directly by you. You do that. So you get an IPA debit order submission confirmation. What is this? This is something that you get in the online system when you do the registration, and you say that you're going to pay for fees. Actually, you say that you're going to pay. We have learned that the IPA does not provide with invoices. So this is something that we need to have in order to make sure that you have done this. But there's a slight issue here, or important thing to have into account, is that in order to save and print the confirmation, you have to do it immediately when you're in the system. Okay, because you won't be able to access this confirmation later when you go out of the system, and another day you go back and you're not able to access that. So be aware to save and print the confirmation immediately after submitting the online debit order in the IPA online filing system, as you will not be able to do this later. So this is important. The system is configured like that. Their system is configured like that, and there's nothing you can do, and we can do about it. So please to take this into account. Okay, well, here you will have the IPA debit order number and the patent application process and that will be fine for us. Proof of payment is that bank transfer that receipt that you clearly indicate the name of the beneficiary and the IP. This is for the case you pay an invoice for the patent that you did the online registration on your behalf. Okay, and then you do the request the partial reimbursement. In case of it's made, this is made by the IP attorney. Upload one or more invoices and the corresponding payment. And in case of you done that, you can make a request by uploading the IPA debit order confirmation. This is important. I was saying service to reimbursement are limited to 2 requests. For these reasons, beneficiaries may submit as many invoices and proof of payment or debit order confirmation as they have available for each request. Okay. Once you have made the second, you will not be able to do more. Okay. So we have done this because we cannot extend this eternally, and and it's also easier for you to just make 2 maximum and compile everything, to put everything together in each of everything that you are available each time you want to make a payment request, and then the confirmation of reimbursement. So we have tried to put a picture here to guide you a little bit on the whole process I was talking about. So you can put yourself together. Put yourself in which of the processes you are following or you will be following. Has the online IPA patent registration been made by your IP attorney? No, you made it your own. Okay, then have you saved the online debit orders confirmation? No, then the request, the reimbursement cannot be done, or yes, you upload the debit order in the EMS platform. We pay the grant, the corresponding reimbursement to you, and you confirm the transfer by uploading the acknowledgement of receipt. If the answer here is yes, that your attorney does normally, this is something normal and does it for you on your behalf, for activation, you either pay the corresponding invoice, so you have the attorney invoice plus the proof of payment, you activate here a service in the EMS platform, or you send, if you choose the second option, which is not a preferable, but you can also do it that way, you can send to this email the invoice, and your service will be automatically activated. And then, have you paid the IP, because you're still missing that part, the IP attorney's invoice? No, then no reimbursement can be done. Or yes, you put it together, you upload it in the EMS platform, and we pay the corresponding grant. So just follow the picture, and it's pretty straightforward. And let's go for service 3, which is basically the same concept. It's even easier because here we do not have to, or you don't have to access the IPO online system, finance system. You have your services, your consultant IP services from the attorney. First point is, of course, the IPSA again. Yeah, then you have a valid invoice, attorney's invoice, proof of payment, service activation, and confirmation of reimbursement. Again, we are just monitoring what is happening there, but you don't have we don't have to depend on third parties here. This is the same for the service 3. The activation limits deadlines are the same, but if you got also, if you got grant for service 2, you have the same logic here. If you activate service 2, you will have consequently 4 months extension for service 3. So it's the same logic here. This is the same. You will also have only 2 payment requests to be done through the EMS platform or by email. And here explain the process. The IPSA first, the IP attorney invoice. Here is important to notice that the IP patent attorney here has to be entitled to act before the EPO. So no, this is no not IP attorney invoice from your attorney, if it's not in the EPO list, it would be allowed or will be valid. Okay, so he needs to be in the list. You have here a link to see if your IP attorney is entitled to act before the EPO, and if it's the case, well, then you just have to provide us with the invoice with the name of the attorney, the patent application process, or the patent application and the patent application number, or if a statement regarding decision to discontinue patent application process. Of course, here this is the service. This service is intended to support cost of IP attorney in the advice to you on how to proceed or proceeding with a patent. But the result can be that this advice says that there's no way of continuing in it because for whatever reason, and it's also okay for us if it's the result. But we need a statement saying that you have, together with the IP attorney, decided to discontinue this process. Okay, so it's okay. Here we also have to, in order to facilitate the reimbursement for us, we also ask you to please, at least if the whole thing, if the whole invoice is not in English, to please introduce this little paragraph in English with the relevant information for us in order to check that everything is okay. Proof of payment, and then request a partial reimbursement with the same logic. Please remember that you may put together several voices plus their corresponding proof of payment together in a PDF or a zip file. It's okay, but you will only be able to upload one file. either a PDF containing everything or a zip file which containing everything. Okay, service 3 is also limited to requests. Important again to say that everything invoices and proof of payments have to be dated after the communication date, so the 10th of October. So if you have invoices prior to 10th of October this year, it won't be they won't be valid. So you will have to either ask for new ones or just to get the new ones from this date. We just to finalize, just to make sure that you know that there's a support service cancellation procedure in which you just state with this is a model statement for discontinuation that we're asking you to provide us with along with the invoice of the IP attorney if this is the case, and also a letter model for you to ask us to cancel whatever service if you see that you're not going to comply with the deadline for whatever reason, or you decided to stop the process for whatever reason. You can cancel the service. This is not an optimal situation, of course, for us, but it's good to know that you actively cancel one service. So and this, by the way, does not penalize you or does not prevent you from asking for another grant in the future cutoff dates from this program. Okay. And this is more or less it. I think what's best is that you make some questions, or you just read again this document, which is, as you can have seen, is not very long, and we have tried to make it as short and straightforward as possible to everybody. Just learning for a little bit from our experience from the first cutoff date back in June on the service activation procedures and so on, and the surveys and so on. That and we perfectly understand that it's not easy to understand the first time, but I mean, I think we have tried to make it clear in this document. So if you have any questions, maybe we can go through them. Let's see what we have. Okay, do we have any questions? Do we, Filippo? Do we have any questions? I cannot see them here.
Yes, Francisco. You can see the questions if you click on the question mark next to the name of the attendee.
Okay. But I cannot see the attendees. I just see yourself on me.
Okay. I try to this stuff. Let me check. Just
or maybe you can read them.
now. The attendees list. You can see it now.
No, I cannot see.
If you click on attendees, no, you can't see.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Now I can see it. I can see a question mark. Okay, let's go for the first one.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Here.
And if you click on the question mark, you can see all the questions.
I cannot see. I click, but I cannot see that.
No?
No, I cannot see that. I'm sorry about that, but I cannot. Adolfo Santoro has an.
Maybe if you want, I can read the question.
Yeah, please.
One by one.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So the first one is where can I find this document? And the asker is Brendan Coley.
Yeah, if you go to the EMS platform and you go to the second cutoff date, you can support documentation there of the second cutoff date. And the information about the call, you will see a document called Guide for Beneficiaries. So it's there to be found. Information about the call in the EMS platform. Support documentation. Okay, one question, more question.
Yeah. What about payment which were done in February 2019? Can you reimburse this payment also?
What about what is the word? The
reimburse
yeah.
The payment which were done in February 2019. Can you reimburse this payment also?
No, because this payment is dated before 10th of October. So our rules, this is the rules that we've been given actually by the European Commission, is that we can only accept invoices and payments that are dated after the day which we communicate the grant. So everything has to be after 10th of October. Yeah, sorry about that, but it's going to be reimbursed.
Okay. And about this reimbursement, how much time do we have to ask the first reimbursement?
Sorry, what was that again?
How much time do we have to ask the first reimbursement?
To ask, yeah, you have 4 months to ask the first reimbursement. You have 4 months counting from the 10th of October. So you have until 10th of February to ask the first reimbursement.
Okay.
You have 4 months, but again, you have 4 months to do that for service. I mean, if you have reimbursement for service 2, you want to ask. If you are granted to the service with service 3 at the same time, if you ask for service 3 at within those 4 months, you will have 4 months more for the service 2. Okay, I know it may be difficult to understand, but if you have the package, the two services, if you ask for the other one, you have 4 months for this one. Okay, that's clear. Okay.
Next question. Regarding service 3, the reimbursement for IP attorney fees are only, or also for the administrative fees at attorney firm?
I mean, this we accept invoices from IP attorneys or fees from the attorneys. I mean, whatever fees are they that are related to the European patent in question. So that's why we are asking to include that information in the invoice. So everything that IP attorney has made for you as a service in relation to one specific European patent registration process would be acceptable. Okay.
Next question, regarding partial reimbursement, can you in advance say how much will be reimbursed? 10%, 50%?
No, it's already settled. It's 75% in case of service 2 and 50% in case of service 3. So, for instance, if you make a first request for reimbursement of 1,000 euros of IP attorney service 3, for instance, we will pay you 500 euros. So half of the 50%. So it's always 50% for service 3, 75% for service 2, up to a maximum of 2,000 euros service 3, 2,100 euros in service 2.
Next question. This person says her company, the company she works for is in Italy. So how can she make the choice of the expert for IP pre-diagnostic?
Yeah, and so in here, well, I think we talk about that. In Italy, you will be contacted, okay, with via email, in which we will provide you with several names, let's say 4 or 5 normally, or maybe a little bit more or a little bit less, but you will receive a list of different names, people, together with a short profile of their expertise, where they, well, you know, their knowledge, so you can choose who's depending on that, who's most convenient for you. We also what we try to do is that, knowing where these people, these experts, are located, and knowing that you are located, knowing where you are located, we try to provide you with options from experts that are close, more or less, to your city. Okay, so it's easier for everyone to agree on a date and to have the visit. Okay, that's also, if you're in Milano, we're probably not going to give you an expert that works in Naples or in Sicily. Okay, we will try to get somebody from a couple of options, so you can choose from the same region. That's the way we do it. And the same for Greece. Well, in smaller countries, maybe this is not done this way, but in Italy, I know that we do it this way. Greece, Italy, Ireland, Latvia, and Sweden will work like this.
There's a question asking whether it is possible to get reimbursement retroactively.
Well, I think we already have answered that question. No, I mean, no, because the date of the invoice and the corresponding proof of payment needs to be from 10th of October this year. So if it was last year, it was in February, as we said, we cannot do that. It has to be always from now to the future.
Okay. Okay, this is already answered. Technical question: Do I get the confirmation mail after having completed the IPA4SME self-assessment?
No. No, I mean, we're asking you to do it. We will check if you have done it. We will contact you in case you don't do it. Okay, so if you do it, you know that you've done it. So there's no point of us from us to inform you that what you have done, because you already know. Okay, so you do the IPSA, the self-assessment, and then you can start providing us with invoices or whatever, or starting to get an appointment with the expert and so on and so forth. Okay, but we're not going to contact you to say that you have filled the IPSA self-assessment. We will do it in case you don't. We shouldn't, or maybe we shouldn't, or I don't know if you should. We should, but we normally do this because I know that time is well, life is complicated, and I mean, and times goes by fast. And in case you didn't do the IPSA self-assessment 2 months after our communication, that means something. That means something, and we will probably get back to you. But again, we won't say anything if you comply with the process and you doing step by step what you should do. Everything is fine, and we would just, and even you don't have to tell us when you have uploaded or you have made a payment reimbursement request. We will check that periodically in the platform, and in case there's something wrong there, we will of course contact you. And if something is not wrong, if everything is okay, we'll simply proceed with the reimbursement, and everything will go fine. We will most probably contact you in case there's something missing, if the deadline are not complied or whatever. But if everything goes fine, we will probably not contact you.
Next question: is it possible to cover also costs for the brand application?
No, no. You have seen. Yeah, I mean, this is a very straightforward question. Answer is that we only cover. Well, I'm not sure if you see my screen now, but those fees that are in that table 2 is code 1, code 2, 5, 6, 7, and 33. So it's for European patent registration and patent applications. We don't cover industrial designs, or we don't cover I'd say brands and this kind of thing. So just this is the way it has been designed, and we have to stick to that. So that's why that's the reason why we also ask you that we need to have the information of the codes, or which fees I have you paid, in order for us to be able to pay you back the reimbursement. And that's we check if their codes are okay, then everything is okay.
Okay, next question. For service 3, the maximum is 2,000 euros per SME per patent. If we study 2 patents, do we get 4,000 reimbursement or 2,000?
No, if you have that's also important. That maybe we should have put it more clear in the guide for applicants. There's a univocal correspondence. Each IP4SME application, or each grant that we give, it's for 1 patent. Okay. If you have more patents, you have to make another IP4SME application. So you have to solicit another grant. Okay. So one patent, one grant from us. Okay, so if you have a second one, you have to make another application for the next cutoff date, or maybe you have done it in the same cutoff date, and it will be, of course, 2,000 euros more, but for that second patent you need to, but you cannot put 2 patents in the same justification document with us. Okay. But of course, it means that this 2,000 is per patent. If you have 2 patents, you will have 4,000. But you have to separate them in 2 different grants.
Next question. Is it possible to apply also for service 3 in the next call after being reimbursed for service 2?
Yes. Yes. Totally yes. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, you could have, but in any case, maybe timing was not proper or whatever, because as you said, as you can see, we have 4 months. You could have applied for service 3 also in the same cutoff date, but of course but no problem. You can ask for service 3 in the next cutoff date, and you can ask for service 2 and service 3 in the next cutoff date for another patent, as I was saying before. Okay. So yes.
How many invoices can an SME submit for service 2 and 3 for reimbursement?
Okay. Yeah, you can as many you can provide us with as many invoices as you because we're going to give you maximum X, but the thing is that you have to put them together, as I said, together in the same file, either a PDF all together or in a zip file together, and upload it in the image platform. But you can put thousands of invoices, because there's no limitation on that. The limitation is the amount we're going to reimburse to you. We're going to reimburse to you 75% or 50%, up to a maximum of 2,500 or 2,000, and that's it. So you put them all together, as many as possible, and knowing that you're going to get a maximum.
Next question. How about the selection of the IP pre-diagnostic expert in countries which are not in the list, as there seems to be only 11 countries listed?
Yes, exactly. That is correct. That is correct. And the thing is that we already informed about this, well, maybe as you might have maybe tried to select service 1 in the application process when you applied, and you couldn't, because this service has been agreed between the European Commission and your country individually. It's an agreement, and the countries that are in have decided to participate. So if you are in a country that is not in the list, is not in those 11, it's because your country, your IPA patent or your ministry didn't want to participate in this program. That's all the reason. That's a simple reason. These 11 countries said, okay, we want to foster this and to help our SMEs to have a price diagnostic and see what they have to do. And these 11 countries said yes, and the others said no. So we couldn't do anything about that.
Okay, and the last two questions. What if we filed for a patent in 10 different countries? Can this cost be reimbursed?
Can you repeat that again, please?
What if we filed for a patent in 10 different countries? Can these costs be reimbursed?
Well, yes. I mean, as long as it's an European patent in 10 different to be for 10 different countries, yes. I mean, this program is meant for European patent. If those 10 different countries are around the world, then the answer is no. Of course, this is only to work with the EPO, the European Patent Office, and patents that are eligible are those European patents that are eligible are those who are filed at least in 2 countries. So if you are going to file a European patent in 10 for 10 different European countries, it's perfectly okay.
And the last one, what about software patent in light of recent changes in the EU?
Well, for us, I mean, in this case, it's as long as the European Patent Office allows you to register and apply for a European patent for software patent, as long as this is eligible for them, it's eligible for us. So, this is the answer. I mean.
Okay. Maybe just to remind that the recording of this webinar will be sent to attendees. So, Francisco, if you want to add.
More just final remarks that just again read carefully this document, and please do not hesitate to contact us via that calls at the IP4SME.eu email account. In case you have any questions regarding the specific details or anything you but again, the EMS platform is our support platform for communication and for interchange of documents, and please bear in mind that the time limitations that we have set up. What else? Because I'm just speaking from experience from others. Make sure that the time is you follow up with the timing, that in case you have service 1 that you contact and you schedule a meeting with the expert as soon as possible. If please get back to us if you find difficulties to do so, and that's it. And we stay at your disposal for any questions you may have. And again, you don't expect us to contact you when you do something. I mean, if we will contact you just in case something is wrong or you're missing something, but if you comply with the procedures, everything will go smoothly. And that will be it. So thank you again. Thank you very much for attending and for your time now. And I hope you get the most out of this program. That is our intention and our objective. So again, don't hesitate to get back to us if you have any questions. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Thank you, Filippo and Joan. Thank you for our colleagues on COPAC for organizing this as well. And just to mention that the University of Alicante is another a partner of this program. So CARSA, University of Alicante here in Spain as well, and COPACOM are members of the consortium that are putting this program forward. Okay, thanks very much, and well, we keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.